Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. The tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life we know you can't pretend. The days pass by, they've set in stone. But it's not too late now for you to change your tone. Don't speak, don't speak. Open your soul, don't harden your heart. Don't speak.
Hey everyone, it's Marianne from Pizzatola from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. Welcome everyone. It is Friday, May 9th. It is 6 p.m. and we also have another guest today joining us. You know how we love doing these lives to get to be able to introduce you to candidates that are running for a different city council position. So I'd like to just give you a brief update today. I know that there's a lot going on. We've had some meetings regarding our city legislation and our state legislation. There's also an article that came out tonight in the New York Daily News regarding District Council 37, basically threatening council members. If you remember, this goes back 2 years ago, that they were threatening city council members to withdraw their support for them, as well as their campaign finance donations in support of their campaigns if they supported us and our bill Intro 1096. So that has been confirmed, and an article just came out in the Daily News about that. I did post it in our Facebook page, but I'll get back to you with you later on. The state legislation, we're still having some issues with, and we are looking for a state senator to help us with that legislation, because DC 37, the United Federation of Teachers, and the New York State AFL-CIO have effectively convinced the state legislator that had sponsored that bill, even though none of us are union members or not in the AFL, UFT, or DC 37, convinced him that the language had to be changed and he had to get off our bill. So we had a meeting today where I guess there was some confusion with the date time schedule. I know I wasn't confused, but I guess there was some confusion. And there was also some change where the senator supposedly was still up in Albany and could not make it to our meeting. So we did hold the meeting anyway with the people that we had with us. So I want to thank my team for being there with me. And we also had some of his constituents on Zoom, and we educated his staff as to why the New York State AFL-CIO, DC 37, and the UFT interfering in our bill, and the language that they were trying to force upon us is not a protection. Then we asked for a follow-up meeting with the senator himself, and we were told that they didn't think that might be possible as they were very busy. So we're going to follow up with that next week and let you know. If not, then I'm going to ask some of you that are in Democratic districts. We need a Democratic senator to pick up that bill and help us out. So this bill isn't going to go anywhere this year, but at least we can work on building it up for the next term. So that's the legislation. We have court next week. Our bus will be leaving City Hall for Albany next week. We have closed already the bus sign-up list, and we're hoping that all you guys are coming. There should be no no-shows. We ask you for a commitment because remember, we have to buy the meals for all of you for lunch and dinner going up. We have ordered your sandwiches. Those of you who put listed some kind of an allergy or sensitivity, we also told the deli to make sure that those were honored. Your boxes would be specially marked. I will put all of that information in a special email to you probably by Saturday afternoon. You'll be getting that. If you don't get an email and you did sign up for the bus, I need to know immediately. I will also put that in the email when we send out all the information to you. Let's see. We also have a couple of events coming up that I did also want to share with you. Let me see if I can pull that up while we're talking, or it's not going to work with me. Let's see. We're going to be doing some campaigning for Maya Kornberg, who's running against Shahana Hanif, and we're also going to be doing some work with Chris Marte. He is another council member that's been threatened by active members of DC 37 going into the district and supporting an opposition candidate because he is supporting 1096, which if you read the Daily News article, District Council 37 is considering that a threat against the union, our own bill. So here's a couple of events for you to take note of. This will all come up in an email, so don't worry. If you get our emails, you will get this information. Sunday evening at 7:30 p.m., we're going to be doing a live event with the full A Better Contract, ABC, A Better Contract slate. So you will see like 10 of their members that are running for position to unseat the current Unity Caucus of Michael Mulgrew. Then you can put on your calendars May 14th from 5 to 7. That is the night before we go to Albany. You and I will be meeting in Chris Marte's district. We're going to go hand out some flyers between 5 and 7, and then we can go grab a bite to eat and go home. And then I'll see you all the next morning. Then Maya Kornberg, we're also going to be doing some phone banking for her. That she's going to be our champion in District 39. That will be May 19th at 5 p.m., May 21st at 2 p.m. And then on June 14th, we're holding a virtual rally to kick off early voting for all you New York City voters. So that is very important to get the vote out. If you did not get your ballot for the United Federation of Teachers, you might want to wait just this weekend. If you don't get it by Monday, you may want to call GES, that Global Election Systems, that seems to be a train wreck, and let them know that you did not get your ballot. They're trying to clarify some information because there's a lot of trouble with this company since they fired AAA last year, and that will be some interesting news when they finally get their act together on that. My apologies if my screen keeps freezing. I clearly am traveling and my Wi-Fi is not my good Wi-Fi at home. There was one more point I had to make. Oh, so many of you have heard that we did get a letter from Andrew Cuomo in support of our 3 issues. Now, I did tell you when our organization decided that we would meet with all elected candidates, candidates that were for elected position of mayor or city council, that they had to commit to 3 things. They had to promise to protect our traditional Medicare, promises made, promises kept, not force us into Medicare Advantage, and not pass costs onto us either, because they could say, well, we're preserving your traditional Medicare, you're just going to pay for it. Number 2 was going to be the statutory Medicare B premium. Remember that you are eligible for Medicare B premium reimbursement if after you've paid it. So for 2024, you paid premium for Medicare, that $170, $180 a month, out of your Social Security check from January to December. But you don't get that reimbursement until April or October of the following year. We want that statutory reimbursement back quarterly in the year we pay for it. The third thing we asked for was that when the retiree dies, your healthcare dies that day. And we want to be able to create a 30 or 60-day grace period that the surviving dependents have an opportunity to be able to secure health benefits for themselves, since healthcare dies with the retiree. So that is very important. And we said, of course, I didn't want to make it bullet point number 4, but what I did say is, when you are elected, I'm asking you to keep that communication open with retirees, because if we're part of that conversation, maybe there's things that we can help out. I mean, we have a lot of knowledge that many of these younger people don't have, and it would be great to use us as a resource, right? So those were the commitments that we asked for. And if any candidate signed that letter, they attended a meeting with us and they supported us. And we recognize, this is a caveat, we recognize that there are some elected that just jumped on our legislation when we did 1096 only for political cover because they were in a contested race. And then they abandoned us this time. And those are the candidates that we were saying, no, you didn't really jump on this bill because you supported us. You did this for yourself. You didn't do this for us, especially if they'd been ghosting us for the last year. Now, if they start to talk about it publicly in their district, that they support retirees and they support protecting Medicare, they had to show us that they are working to support our issue and that they are speaking about it publicly. If they take their information off of their website, they don't talk about retirees, they don't talk about protecting traditional Medicare, they don't really have our back. So remember what I always said to you, don't always watch what they say, watch what they do. Because anyone can just do something and sign something or tell you they support you. Like you're used to hearing many sitting council members say, I support you, but then they don't do anything to support you. It's almost like, I support you fixing this yourself. So that's really important, to find champions in districts or running for office in a district where there is an incumbent that's not helping us, that would absolutely do that. And that was why we're always trying to find candidates who are even retirees that understand our issues, right? That's an important thing. So one of those candidates is tonight. We also did get those letters from just about every one of the mayoral candidates except Eric Adams, Adrian Adams, Zoran Mamdani, and Zelner Myrie. Every one of the other candidates have supported retirees on those 3 issues, plus communicating with us. So yes, we did get a letter from Andrew Cuomo. Yes, I did meet with him yesterday. That communication is open. We will report more on that when the board is done looking at all of the things that were given to us from all of the mayoral candidates. And then we will announce when we are going to do our full slate of retiree approved, like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval of candidates who are supporting us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Richie Barsamian. As you can see, his website is down below, rb4fornyc.com. Richie Barsamian is running for District 47 in Brooklyn, and he is running for City Council. Welcome, Richie.
Good evening, Marianne. Thank you. A pleasure and an honor to be with you and everyone around you this evening. Thank you.
You're welcome. You got a good crowd, at least in our Facebook YouTube tonight. So you do have some supporters here right away. It's good to see. Let's see. Some of these were from when I was talking about Peter. So tell us, while I'm looking for some more of these comments, tell everyone a little bit about you, your district, why you're running. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Richie Barsamian, and I am currently the Republican and Conservative Party endorsed candidate for City Council in Southern Brooklyn. I hope to have the honor of representing the communities of Bay Ridge, portions of Bath Beach, portions of Gravesend, all of Seagate, and the overwhelming majority of Coney Island. It's a sizable district, District 47, one that I am very familiar with because I am a lifelong resident of Brooklyn. And have always been a New Yorker. I'm a huge fan, and I have an emotional commitment to the Big Apple. I love everything about it, from food to our entertainment venues to my beautiful neighbors in Brooklyn. This is my first run for office, but I have been very active and very politically involved as a community activist for quite some time. I also have the honor of being the chairman of the Republican Party in Brooklyn. So what this campaign is about, and what I am about, is bringing a level of unity and a level of understanding and a commitment to all people that are in District 47 in Southern Brooklyn. I want to move beyond any argument of partisan politics. I am proud of who I am. I am proud of who's endorsed me. But more important, I have a desire to honor the commitment that I talk about. What is on my platform, what is part of my speeches wherever I go, when people stop me on the avenue and talk to me, they bring their concerns to me. There is nothing that matters more than being a public servant, because the title tells you you're there to serve the public. So our city council representatives, wherever they are, whoever they may be, their job essentially is to provide information and services to their constituents. And when there's a problem, when there's a concern, they should be there to bring that issue front and center and to find a resolution, to see what they can do. Oftentimes, it's enough to be a strong voice and an advocate. So in this race, I am asking for everyone's support, no matter what party they belong to, no matter how they voted in the past. I say to you, and I say to everyone in the areas that I hope to represent in Southern Brooklyn, please give me the opportunity to represent you, and you will find that I am a person who is very grounded in the belief of honesty, integrity, and above all, a desire to help people. It's what I'm about. It's what I've always been about. I spent a couple of decades with great honor and pride as a member of the NYPD. I love this city and I love everything about it. And again, I say to you, I ask for you and your listeners to give me the support and let me go to the New York City Council to be part of that body and to be a strong advocate, a strong voice for the people in District 47 that will need and may need my help. Thank you, Marianne.
You're welcome. So you are a retiree. You are a New York City retiree.
I am, yes, indeed, absolutely. And
So
very proud of it.
you are actually our second person who's potential candidate who's running for office. Like, well, at least once again, was Scott Stringer is a retiree, and you are a retiree. So that makes 2 New York City retirees running for office, and you are running in Brooklyn. So Serena Me is asking. He actually said where his district was. You want to say that again, Richie? My apologies.
Yes, absolutely. My goal is to represent District 47 in the New York City Council. That district covers, again, we're talking about the New York City Council. That district covers Bay Ridge, a small section of Dyker Heights, Bath Beach, the edge of Gravesend. Then we turn to all of Seagate and Coney Island. It's a very large district in Southern Brooklyn.
That's wonderful. Let's see. With District 47, what are some of the other positions that you have or issues that you have in your district that you want to fix? These are things that would impact your residents, whatever it is that's going on in your community that might be of interest to retirees. We are a one interest group. So as our organization is really only concerned about this. And Kathy's asking who represents that district now, and that's Justin Brannan. He's term limited out. He's running for Comptroller, and Richie's running to take his seat.
I am facing a primary opponent. There is a primary on June 24th. Hopefully I am the victor, and I will then move forward to the general election. But the seat is currently held by Councilman Brannan, who is term limited and has made it clear that his goal is to be the next Comptroller of the City of New York. And
Right.
My goal is to be the next council member in District 47.
Very good. Kathy says yes. Okay, very good.
Marianne, if I may interrupt, I believe it came across the board now. Someone is asking for my position on the casino in Coney Island. And if I may talk about that for a moment,
Yes, you
the
may.
proposed casino,
I see it.
it's a major issue. for the people of Coney Island, because a couple of things are happening. There's a great deal of aggressive marketing going on. There's a lot of promises being made. And in the last couple of days, the City Planning Commission tentatively approved that what would be a 3-block area there in the heart of Coney Island. But the question is not about size, amusements, casinos. The ultimate question is, what will the benefit, if any, be to the Coney Island community? What will be the positive and what will be the negative? As I have spent a great deal of time examining this very, very extensive casino proposal, the reality is the overwhelming majority of the residents of the year-round Coney Island community oppose it. And they oppose it because of several factors. Many of them have come to me and said they're afraid of the enormous quality of life negatives that come with the casino, unbelievable increased traffic. Now, remember, we're talking about Coney Island, and Coney Island is a peninsula, Marianne. So there are limited ways to get in and out. So if you experience an evacuation emergency, you experience coastal flooding, you experience any type of emergency, with the enormous crowds that this casino will bring, vehicular traffic, pedestrian traffic, security concerns, you have brought about an extreme multiplication of those that would be involved in an emergency evacuation. I don't think enough attention is being given to that. Then you have the issue of crime and quality of life. Think about this. Has anyone, no matter what party they belong to, even those that were cheerleaders for casino projects around our state or in the tri-state area, has anyone been at a dinner table and said, you know, I'm so happy that that casino came in. It's really turned that area into an amazing and beautiful attraction for everyone. And the reality is that's not the case, because there are a series of buildings where gambling takes place. That's where the venue is. But the outside community, let's look at Atlantic City. They suffer. Let's look at the increased crime in the surrounding areas. You've had casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey for decades and decades, and they were promised to be a miracle, a panacea for the community. But we see very, very little positive socioeconomic impact on that community. So ultimately, we must keep in mind that although we're being given and told about 1 million promises of job opportunities and so many other opportunities, the real problem here is it presents a nightmare for the people, the multi-generational families who have lived, our New Yorkers, our full-time Coney Island residents. They're looking for housing. They're looking for financial opportunities. They're looking for new schools. They're looking for apprenticeship programs so that their children have an opportunity if they don't pursue a full academic avenue. They're looking for apprenticeship programs where they can develop a trade. Bringing a casino for the sake of, at the end of the day, the reality is corporate profits over the quality of life, without an incredible commitment to infrastructure support, transportation alternatives, and of course, the security that comes with this. Remember, Marianne, you and all your listeners that are with us tonight, when you bring a casino to an area, what happens in that one place is magnified to the surrounding communities. So with quality of life difficulties, evacuation difficulties, crowds, highways, this is something that we cannot afford to jump into, because what we're doing is really overriding the concerns of the community. And that's not what New York is about. New York is about a whole group of those 5 boroughs and our neighbors who make it the shining big apple that it is. So my answer on the casino is a resounding and strong no. And it's not just my opinion. It's based on the concerns of the people that I want to represent. Because at the end of the day, they live there. That's their community. And we cannot afford to do the wrong thing. We won't have the opportunity to fix it. We have to wait and prepare to do the right thing. Investing in our community does not equate investing in a casino, Marianne. And to whoever, I apologize, I don't remember who it is, the name of the person that asked that question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Actually, and one of the things we keep finding, and this is in many communities, and it's not just in our own city, that special interests, real estate groups will come in, and this was actually happening. Janice was in another meeting with me the other day with a councilwoman from Brooklyn, where a land deal was made for a specific development, and then that developer backed out, and then another developer came in and changed what they were developing. So when that happens, and it's not at what the residents or constituents did approve, that definitely becomes a problem. So they shouldn't be allowed to just do that. That should have to go back before the board, the commissioner or the council. If any changes is made to that original agreement, they should have to go back to the council and say, we're making a proposal to amend what was originally approved. It shouldn't just be, well, now I'm going to change this to this, and you're just going to have to deal with it. That's not listening to the voice of the people. And we hear that so many times as part of the frustrations, no matter where you are.
Absolutely. No doubt whatsoever that the commitment has to be not to any one special interest. Now, not every desire to develop an area is negative. Not every project ends in a problem, but you've got to be extremely careful, because the last thing you want to do is to bring a series of difficulties to a community. You want to invest in communities. You want to build communities. You want to make them better for multiple generations. The last thing you want to do is destroy the close-knit ties of a community. So many of these projects are unfortunately not really thought through. There is often a rush to do something, and that rush is very dangerous to the community. Also, Marianne, I received a question about my endorsements in this campaign, and I would like very much to go forward and let people know that the following individuals have endorsed me. I am the endorsed candidate of the Republican Party. I am the endorsed candidate of the Conservative Party. I have received the endorsement with great pride of Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, an individual who I respect tremendously, who has done such good things for the community when she was a member of the Assembly and in the House of Representatives. Assemblyman Alec Brooke Krasny, Assemblyman Michael Novikov, Assemblyman Lester Chang, City Councilwoman Ina Verdikoff, former New York City Council member Ari Kagan, current New York State Senator Steve Chan, Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels,
Another
former State Senator Marty Golden.
Marty.
Of course.
Yes.
The Fire Marshals Benevolent Association, and of course, the Retirees Organization.
Right.
So I have a great deal. Excuse me, I left out two. My apologies. Assemblyman Michael Tanusis and New York City Councilman David Carr as well. So I have, and I'm very proud and honored to have, an enormous amount of support and endorsements in this campaign from people who know my devotion to the communities that I want to represent.
That's fantastic. And you have a lot of support here too. People are liking what they're hearing.
Thank you.
Camille says thank you. Kathy says great. Her too, and great people have endorsed you as well. Yep, Maya as well. Yes, William, he's retired NYPD.
Yes.
Served a career in the city just like we did. Let's see. Montecalumia says destroying Bay Ridge wasn't enough for Justin Brannan. He had to move over to Coney Island. You don't have to answer that.
There's one thing I want to make clear to everyone, and really everyone on either side of politics knows this about me. I don't believe in political attacks,
right.
And I don't believe in internet wars. I believe in trying to have a conversation, and I believe in always doing your best to do what is right. And you listen to people, you'll see where they are on the issue, and you'll form an opinion. And when we have a chance, I would like very, very much to talk about what the retirees face with this constantly looming threat of Medicare Advantage, which I really believe should be called Medicare Disadvantage. But
Yes, it should.
that's at your discretion, Marianne.
No, let's do that next. So you have one question here. Is crime is increasing in District 47 like the home invasion last month?
Yes.
Give us your views on that, please. So I'm not familiar with that. My apologies.
No. There was a truly horrific home invasion that occurred in the confines of the 6-8 precinct, actually on the hairline border between Bay Ridge and Diker Heights a few weeks ago. Several individuals, perpetrators, entered a home while the couple and their children were upstairs sleeping. It was about, I believe it was about 4 a.m. or 4:20 a.m., if I remember correctly. The great news is nobody was hurt, if one could say great news about a home invasion. And the police are investigating this, but this is not an isolated incident. This is what happens in the greatest city in the world when you take us from a head count of just about 40,000 members of the NYPD and you bring us to an area somewhere between 32 and 33,000. So no matter what the numbers are, you're looking at approximately 7,000 to 8,000 members of the NYPD that have retired, that have left, that have not been replaced. So you're asking a department to go out and continue the miraculous turnaround that I was part of. I was part of the greatness of Safe Streets, Safe City. I was part of the turnaround where people felt safe 3.5 decades ago. I was part of the guidance of Commissioner Bratton, Mayor Giuliani, Mayor Bloomberg, the great Commissioner Kelly. And I have a firsthand knowledge of what it takes to make people feel safe. You're having crime that we have never seen before in District 47, in Bay Ridge, in Diker, in Coney Island, because of one thing: recidivism. The majority of these criminals are repeat criminals. No one wakes up, Marianne, at 9 a.m. and says, you know what? I'm not going to make the donuts today. I'm not going to Food Town. I'm not going to Key Food. I don't want to work in the deli section anymore. I'm going out there and committing really serious felony crimes. People that commit these crimes are dedicated to this. They are recidivists. They are repeat criminals. And the problem is that when we had the proper staffing levels for all tours, the NYPD, which is an amazing organization of dedicated law enforcement professionals, they had the ability to go after crime in progress, to be omnipresent, to have the patrol officer on the corner, to have the marked cars going back and forth on the avenues that not just provide a feeling of safety, but send a message. We're here. We're protecting New Yorkers. But when you have a 20% or more decline in the operational staffing of a department, it's not the NYPD's fault. They're doing an amazing job. What it is we don't have a budget problem, because we seem to find billions to spend on inappropriate issues. What we have is a spending problem. So we need, and this is my platform, I'm out there talking about this, in addition to protecting retirees, in addition to dealing with the homeless mental health crisis on our transit system. Item 1 is the immediate hiring and implementation to hire 5,000 or more NYPD officers, so that you see more officers, so that you have an increase in our investigatory detective unit, so that we go after people like we did in great numbers with the Warren Squad. So when we find people that are doing this, that are going out there, we grab them, we conduct an investigation, and this prevents future crime. We will never, ever know, Marianne and your listeners will never know the thousands of people whose lives were saved by the proactive, unbelievable success of Safe Street, Safe City. And by the way, for those people that may think, well, there he is, he's talking like a Republican. The answer is no. The answer is I'm talking like a New Yorker, because nobody wants to feel unsafe. That is an issue that transcends any political party. And I would bring to the attention of your listeners that when I started as a member of the NYPD over 3.5 decades ago, it was a result of a great man, a courageous man, and a man of integrity. He was a Democrat, and his name was City Council Speaker Peter Vallone Sr. And that great man went to Mayor David Dinkins, and it was a result of the stabbing death of Utah tourist Brian Watkins. And it was Peter Vallone who turned to the mayor and said, Mr. Mayor, we must stop this now. And they initiated Safe Street, Safe City, and they hired thousands of police officers. We know how to do it, Marianne. We can do it. We need the political will to do it. We need the commitment to do it. And above all, we need members of the 51-member body of the New York City Council to find the will together to say enough is enough. New Yorkers have a right to safety. And that's all New Yorkers in every corner and every borough, not just District 47. But what affects New York City affects District 47.
Absolutely. I know I hear that among my peers still on the job in EMS or fire or police, that the city sometimes to them is very reminiscent about what it looked like in the 80s or 90s. Not as bad, but that there are elements of what that looked like back then. And I'll tell you, as I go back up into like the Midtown-ish area, down around by the Garden, there's things there that I had not seen. Junkies on the street and needles still sticking out of their skin, and all of the people sleeping everywhere in every corner of the sidewalk. I've not seen this in a very long time. So I'm not a fan of going up in that direction when I have an appointment going up there, even, where that's very heavy tourist area. It's sometimes it gets kind of slimy. And for people, when we're as a group, we comment about that to ourselves. Like, the city used to be cleaner. The city didn't have as many homeless. The city didn't have as many drug addicts, or at least if they did, they weren't out like they are now. And it creates a situation where there's a severe mental health problem as well in this city that's not being addressed. And we also see that in the subway. So when you have that mix, it does, especially when maybe you're elderly, we also see a larger uptick of assaults on the elderly for no apparent reason, where someone will just come up from behind them and slam something into them, or knock them to the ground or throw them to the tracks. This is a concern for our aging population in the city of New York, that there's not been a single mayoral candidate that has really, well, there's probably 2 candidates that have addressed that, but majority of candidates are really more focused on the 18 to 40 crowd or 35 crowd rather than the over 50 crowd. And they're not recognizing that this city needs to be more older adult friendly. And that would be our segue into Medicare Advantage. Whereas we have a Democratic city, a Democratic mayor, a Democratic majority city council body that is totally fine with taking health care away from retirees, forcing them into a single plan. And as a retiree, right?
Unacceptable.
We took this job. We were told you'll never get rich, right? You're never going to get rich working for the city of New York, but you will have good health care. When you retire, you'll have Medicare and you will have your pension. We knew this when we took this job. And then we're retired. We're no longer in our unions. However, our unions always protected us until 2014, when things started changing, when unions it was strongly encouraged by management that the United Federation of Teachers would leverage all the other unions to finance their contract. And this is leadership, right? Because most of the members didn't really know what was going on. They were never really given the full contracts. They were just told that this is what they were going to do. They ratified the contract, sometimes without even seeing the side letters or the appendixes to the contract. Then in 2018, Henry Garrido of DC 37 did the same thing. and then agreed to $600 million in recurring savings without ever saying how those savings would come to fruition. They were given a menu of choices, and because they didn't want to feel the pinch any further on them, they decided to force retirees into a Medicare Advantage plan for a sole purpose, was to finance a fund that was primarily financing active workers and non-Medicare retirees' health premium difference between the benchmark, what the city legally, statutorily has to pay up to, and their most popular plan. It was literally so that individuals working didn't have to pay that $20 a month premium difference, or families didn't have to pay $250 a month premium. They literally passed these changes onto retirees. Like they funded this mission on the backs of elderly and disabled. So that's how we came about. My organization did. We were literally activated in retirement to fight this back. We formed this organization, hired lawyers, and we started suing. And then our first case was in August of 21. We founded our organization August 13th. We became incorporated by the end of August, and we filed our first lawsuit within the month. We had to raise like $50,000 in a month in order for the lawyer to file the case. We did, and every time we got an injunction or a court stopped it, the city of New York with the Municipal Labor Committee came up with some other harebrained scheme to do something else to us, which is why today we currently had 3 cases. We've won 11 times across 3 cases with 3 unanimous appeals decisions. We won the first case all the way to the New York State Court of Appeals in December. That case was to define what the city had to pay up to for us. What is the cap for someone like us on Medicare? The second case we're still battling out. That's the copay case. And this case goes back to the New York State Court of Appeals, the highest court in the state, next week, where I'm taking 100 retirees with me to Albany. And that's the mayor's last appeal. He has appealed every single time, lost every single time. And I tell council members, even if we win this next week, because we won't know right away, even if we win this case, this legislation that we've been fighting for, Intro 1096 in the city, has to be passed. Because if we don't, they are going to continue to be passing backdoor premiums in the form of rising copays and rising deductibles on all of us. And for many of us, so you know what that means, and then I'll let you speak to that. DC 37 is some of your lowest paid retirees. 2/3 of us make under $35,000 like myself. 1/3 of them make under $12,000 a year. Top paid cops and firefighters, your brothers and sisters in service in PD. In 1979, 1980, their top pay was $15,000 a year. When they retired, they took a 50% pension. And today, that pension is about $26,000. So every time Michael Mulgrew or Henry Garrido goes to negotiate a contract where they need to come up with funding to finance their raises or something, and they pass that copay on to us to help finance it, that is literally becoming a car payment to most of us, where it's $15. Let's say if you go to physical therapy, occupational therapy, cardiac rehab, chemotherapy, 3 times a week, 15, 15, and 15. And if your doctor's attached to a hospital, it's twice that. Now it's 30, 30, and 30. So there's your argument.
I am very, very aware of the situation, and I will make this commitment for those who may have joined later, for those who just recently came on. If you give me your support, if your members give me their support, and I have the honor of being the next council representative in District 47, I will be reaching out to you and your members. I will not only support 1096, but I will seek in every legislative venue possible to make sure that the pledge that was given to our incredible municipal workforce, that they serve this city in every corner. They made New York City what it is, from the people that go northbound, southbound on the train, to our police officers, to our teachers, to our firefighters, to our EMTs and paramedics. No individual that has given whatever amount of time it is, we'll say decades, that has given their life to the service of the city of New York should ever, under any circumstance, live in fear or in doubt of the looming threat of Medicare Advantage, because it's not an advantage. It's Medicare disadvantage. It is proven without a doubt to everyone that standard Medicare works. Why would you create an additional layer, an administrative layer between the person seeking care and the caregiver? Why would you add a body that will determine what you can do and when you can do it? You're not asking for a handout. We're not on a street corner asking for people, to buy candy or lemonade at our stand. The people that gave time to work for the city of New York were promised that they give this and they get that. So yes, thank you very much. Secretaries, librarians, nurses, cafeteria workers. It doesn't matter what your title is. The
Right.
city of New York is the city of New York because there are people that get out of bed in horrible heat, terrible conditions, traffic, snowstorms, and they go there so that when you go to XYZ office or you need help, that's what the municipal labor force is about, the workforce. No one should enter their golden years living in fear of something they were told they would receive being taken away, or even worse than outright taking it away, introducing this Medicare Advantage plan like it's a wonderful thing. It's not a wonderful thing. It's not what people should have a right to. And if you look into it, you quickly learn that it limits your ability to get certain diagnostic tests performed. It delays, it brings an entire layer of resistance to the individual seeking medical care. So here is the reality of Medicare and the so-called Medicare Advantage plans that they want to force improperly our retirees into. There are moments, and Marianne, you know the specifics of this, but I am growing more and more aware of how this could affect and would affect all of us. But again, I will be that advocate. I am committed to fighting for all of the retirees, including myself. There are moments when you may have to be placed, sadly, in a level of, I believe it's called assisted housing, Marianne, where
Yes.
you don't have straight Medicare. If you don't have straight Medicare, if you have this Medicare Advantage, you will not be able to access that level of supportive housing because of the fact that they have their own network, their own system. This is not something that should be occurring. Going back to Mayor Lindsay's administration, so going back many decades here, there was a contract, in some cases, a literal contract. People did a job, they worked at their position, and they retired. Now, we must not allow anyone, no matter who they are, no matter how powerful they are, no matter how many members they have, no one should have the right to terrify our retirees by threatening to pull the rug out from under them. They have retired. They have earned their moment to be on traditional Medicare, not Medicare Advantage. I will do everything possible, not only with your support, but with the relationship that I hope to build, to be an advocate and a strong voice against this. And believe me when I tell you, I am well aware of what the copays are, because if you go to certain, I don't need to name them, certain immediate care facilities, the copay can be as high as $100. Now, I don't know about you or anyone else, but do you really have that type of disposable income that you could pay $100 to see a medical professional, even though you're insured, and then go out and pay for your medication, going back and forth? Having a small cold, a virus at rest, could leave a $200+ hole in your pocket. So we don't need to place our retirees in terror and have this looming over them. They should have the opportunity to continue on traditional Medicare, to continue with their reimbursements, hopefully quicker than they have been in the past, but we'll work on that. We'll talk about that, Marianne. But You brought something up, and then if I may, I really would like to take a second to go back to the public safety crisis, but this is very important. A lot of people don't know what you brought up at the very, very beginning of the program, and it's very important because sadly, so many people, thousands will face this that work for this great city of New York. Mr. Smith passes away or Mrs. Smith pass away. Either way, they have been retirees, they worked for the city. The moment they leave this earth, their insurance coverage goes with them. In a city as great as New York City, in a state as magnificent that leads the world in protecting people like New York State, you're telling me that we can't set aside a fund or a program to support the surviving dependents for 60 days, 90 days? You're telling me with the enormous budget that we have, we can't find a way to show benevolence and kindness to protect surviving dependents? I mean, think about this, and it has nothing to do with where you were or what your union was or what job you worked in. You're a city worker. You're at an age, something terrible happens. Your significant other is now dealing with the possibility that you may leave this earth. You may have a terminal illness. Do you really want them, in addition to caring for you and suffering the emotional difficulty, do you really want them to have to worry about the moment that they send you on your journey? Do you really want them to say, oh my, I now have no coverage whatsoever? No, there has to be. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue.
Right.
This is a human issue. This is an issue of the decency. And, you think about rights, you think about human rights, you think about dignity. That's what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, think about whatever the world follows started in New York City and in New York State, because we have always been proactive. We have always cared for our people, our New Yorkers. Bring me there. And starting November 5th, as I prepare to take office in January, if I have the opportunity, not only will I reach out to you and say, help me to understand this, but I will be ready to be the loud, proper, articulate advocate for the retirees, because I don't want my fellow New Yorkers to be shortchanged. Because as I said to you in the beginning of this program, there is nothing that is partisan politics about wanting to help people. There is nothing about keeping your word to people. And that is what I want to do. Now, if I may, just for a moment, I want to go back to another emergency, another issue of New Yorkers. And that is what we discussed with the home break-in recently, with a couple of home break-ins in the communities, the bedroom communities of Southern Brooklyn. We're dealing with what nobody wants to discuss. They talk about it and they tell you what the police will do. What we're dealing with, and it is absolutely a public safety emergency. You need a multifaceted approach, because people suffering addiction should not be gotten after they've committed a criminal act based on their addiction. They should be treated for the illness they're suffering. People who are emotionally not well should not be left to lie half naked in a transit station. That is not helping someone. That is ignoring them and letting a problem occur for the sad individual who's homeless and clearly no longer mentally healthy. And that is a problem waiting to happen for another person that may be thrown in front of a train by someone who's suffering a mental health crisis. We can't continue to live in a political vacuum. Actions have consequences. So when you turn around and you have people screaming, well, you know what? We need to take away qualified immunity. Well, you take that away and you're essentially telling the police officers who acted in good faith. We're not talking about someone who did something wrong or criminal outside the description of their job. You take that away, you're telling police officers, you need to be careful. because if something happens, we won't stand behind you. When you tell a police officer that instead of paying attention to tourists on their corner, instead of telling a police officer now with the How Many Stops Act that became legislation, they have to spend all day long inputting into their system any conversation, any stop. And let's not forget about the diaphragm law. If you have someone doing something improper, go after them. The law is the law. But you cannot continue to pass irresponsible laws that handcuff the police. This is how we've gotten to this public safety emergency. It is an emergency. It is a crisis. More police, retain senior veteran police officers to be prepared to train the young officers, as I was, to pass on to them the understanding that they have, and then go back and instead of attacking the police, instead of attacking the workers, instead of trying to tell people you need this complicated Medicare disadvantage plan, why don't we find a way to hire more police officers and support them? Don't tell them that they won't be indemnified. Don't tell them that they have to live in fear. You know what? No police officer, no municipal worker should ever live in fear of the city that they work for not supporting them, whether it's through retiree benefits, whether it's through indemnification, which is what it is for a police officer. And, you go into other issues. They're not all malicious and they're not all politically based, but people are forgetting about what we need. And what we need is to strengthen our workforce. Because if we have a city that's safe, if we have sufficient police, not only the most important thing is people don't lose their lives, but you know what? A safe city is a tourist city. A safe city is a city of economic development. So you won't have, as one of the wonderful listeners said, you won't have storefront after storefront abandoned that have become a makeshift homeless shelter. We've got to return the city to where it was. It has to be a safe oasis. Our transit system must be returned to safety. And it's not about spending hundreds of millions of dollars on fancy new gates. It's about making sure. The governor did something fantastic a couple months ago. She flooded the transit system with hundreds of police officers in New York City under a 6-month plan. Shouldn't be a 6-month plan. It should be the New York plan. And that is to bring police back into the transit system, to let them do what they do best, which is make New Yorkers safe. Then you have other issues, Marianne. I don't want to go on forever, but you've got serious issues. Mm-hmm. You've got people who respond when you or your mom or your dad or your sister or your neighbor in New York City, in Queens, has an emergency. You call 911 and you have an EMT and an ambulance coming to your residence, and you're looking at this wonderful person who may literally be covered in blood, dealing with this, bringing your loved one to an ambulance, getting them stabilized to go to a hospital. And you look at them and you say to yourself, they're working very hard, but I'm sure they're making a great living. They're not. They're not, because oftentimes in the beginning of their career, they're making less than $20 an hour. And you have people doing a similar job in private hospitals making at least 50% more. We need to bring the pay up of our EMTs, of our paramedics, because it is creating a crisis where we're losing thousands of EMTs, which of course is another public safety emergency. Because if ambulance A is in location C and it takes 20 minutes to bring help to you, that's a problem. Everything that we're doing that works will be an investment in the safety of all New Yorkers. Everything that we're doing that we think is right may be wrong. And what we thought was wrong is creating the problems that we're dealing with today. Support the people of the city, not casinos. Support the workers of the city. Bring business back. Make the city safe again. It's not just District 47. It's called the New York City Council. It's not the Brooklyn Council. Put policies in place, and it takes leadership and it takes a strong voice. I want to be part of the solution, Marianne, and I want to minimize the problems that we're dealing with as New Yorkers.
That is very welcome. If you've been watching the comments, even people who don't live in your district wish you were in their district, and one of them even wants you to be speaker, and another one wants you to be mayor. So
thank you very much. I'm honored, deeply honored.
You definitely have, and they think you also need a radio show. They like your voice.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. I just, again, at every moment, we're here because of your organization. We're here because of you. We're here because of your desire to protect others and, of course, yourself. Whatever it takes, I am committed to protecting retirees. I'm unwavering in that commitment to be an advocate. And if there's a subtle area that I need to know about 1096 that I don't know, I'm willing to pick up the phone and say, please let me know about this. That's it. It's that simple.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, and two, one of the things you can do with us later is we know that this is literally a federal issue as well. We're being pulled into so many different states to help retirees. Like we helped Delaware, we helped Connecticut, we helped Vermont, we were helping retirees in California, Ohio, Illinois, and they keep calling us because they hear about our fight, because these greedy insurance companies are going around the country and they're saying, hey, I can give you that Medicare Advantage plan and it's free, and then you get silver sneakers and a Fitbit and whatever, and then they end up being forced into a Medicare Advantage plan. So we know that this is happening all around the country, and we've been trying to help them, but this is happening. We're being forced into this. The reason why is because there is a federal law that was passed really in the dark of night, kind of no public open comment period, whatever. I did reach out to Lily in Nicole's office because one of our retirees said she wanted to talk to me. So I called her a week ago and expressed this whole situation, which she seemed kind of interested in helping. So I'm hoping maybe you might be able to help me eventually develop that relationship, that maybe we take a trip to Washington together and try to fix this or explain this to them, to see that they're hearing the people in their own echo chamber, but they're not really speaking to us boots on the ground, that this is having a direct impact on us and how this would impact us. And then there's a whole bunch of the financial costs where the upcoding and the downcoding, all of that. So that would be an ask for later, but I do appreciate your strong support. You truly would be a champion for retiree issues, and you are a retiree, which also helps. So I appreciate your support in this category.
Marianne, forgive me for interrupting you. May I add just a couple of brief things that, again, we talk about retirees. I'm going to a specific age group now, but anything can be fine-tuned as long as you bring the conversation to the table. Right. So part of my platform, part of what I put out on my site, RB4FOR NYC, RB4FOR NYC.
Down there.
You'll see there on my platform, is to put forth legislation under what I call the SPA, the Senior Protection Act. And part of that would be across the board, all New Yorkers 65 and over would have free bus service. Why? Because as I walk the streets of Brooklyn and I talk to those people who are the foundation, who are getting older, they tell me they would really like to go places if they could get on the bus, but they have limited financial means. A lot of them don't want to go underground, more difficult mobility issues. They don't like the underground, confinement, but they like buses. So why don't we have a city that rewards those people who have given so much to make us what we are as New Yorkers? So one of the things I would immediately introduce, and people will say, well, that's a state issue. You know what? The city of New York provides payments to the MTA for students to ride the trains and buses at no cost. So why can't we institute a policy to provide that dignity, that service, that option to New Yorkers 65 and over? And the other thing that I would like to say, and it's important, if you believe in what I'm doing, if you believe in my strong voice, if you like what I am saying, because I'm telling you who I am, and what I want to do. This is not a speech. It's who I am. It's my love for the city. And anyone who knows me knows that. I would ask two things of you, please. Number one, please go to my website, Look at the people who are endorsing me. Look at what I want to do. It goes across all political lines. It's filled with common sense and a commitment to all New Yorkers to improve our quality of life. And please support me, because I can't do anything to support the people that I care for, my fellow New Yorkers, if I don't get through this primary and don't win the general election. If I support you, and I want to, and I will, what we need to do is to have an opportunity to let my voice be heard, and be heard on behalf of all those who need my support and whose support I need. So please offer me support. Please go to my website, RB, as in my name, Richie Barsamian, FORNYC.com. Offer your support, send me a message, and please, please remember something. I ask you to remember this. And Marianne, this is not easy for me to say, but I'm going to say it. For people who think that, you retirees, you've got such gigantic pensions, you've got cushy jobs. Well, I say to you, how cushy is the job for those police officers who didn't make it home? How cushy is the job when, even in the middle of the worst moments of COVID, did you make a phone call through 911 and FDNY EMTs came to your home and struggled to save a loved one, if not you yourself? How cushy of a job is it to be the paramedic on the ambulance that's trying to make sure the individual doesn't lose their life because they're bleeding? How cushy of a job is it to be in the transit system, struggling because many of your coworkers have contracted COVID and left us? Remember who we are and remember what we need to do. All of us can make this city and Southern Brooklyn a much better place. But it takes unity, it takes support. And I know in my heart, because I love this city so much, that we can do it. But before we do anything, we need to protect each other. And that means public safety, and to stop wasting time threatening our retirees and threatening people that have earned this little piece of the pie of not living in fear of Medicare disadvantage, as I call it. Let's stop this, and let's stop it now. We've had so many victories. I know in May 21st of this year, we had another victory, but all of these victories should not even have to occur. We should not have to go to one after another. It's a very, very strong but simple reality. We're the city of New York, we're the state of New York. We're also human beings that are New Yorkers. Of course, we may have differences as Republicans, as Democrats, as Libertarians, as liberals, but you know what? At the end of the day, there are so many issues that will unite us moving forward. We can do this, but we need to remember who we are. And who we are, we're New Yorkers. So wherever you may have moved to, if you were once a New Yorker, you take a piece of us with you. Wherever you may be, whether you're in San Antonio or San Francisco, Oregon, doesn't matter to me. Because once you've had that New York in your soul, wherever you call home now, whatever your zip code is, you're a New Yorker. And you should take with you what you earned. And one of those things is, and will be, as long as I'm allowed to be the representative that I want to be in the city council, the guarantee of your retiree benefits. And that is an absolute. I will be unwavering with my commitment to your members. And I just want to say to all who joined me this evening, to all who gave me the opportunity, how sincerely I appreciate it. And everyone out there who's doing their job, no matter where they are in every corner of the city of New York, let's even go past in the state of New York. Thank you very, very much. It is your sacrifice that makes us who we are and that produces great things. Let's unite. Let's move forward. Let's stay positive. And please remember, you do have freedom of speech, but not when it comes to vulgarity, to disrespecting someone else, or any act of violence. Your freedoms end as New Yorkers when you choose to bring illegal acts and violence to anyone else. There's a way to do things. Your voice must be heard, These are called guaranteed constitutional safeguards. I'm honored to be with you, and I thank you very, very much to everyone in the Municipal Retirees Association. Thank you very much, Marianne.
Richie, you are so welcome. Actually, I have people professing their love for you here tonight. Literally, Ellen, I can't remember where that just went. Oh, here we go. Hold on. God, I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be a New Yorker. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's that honesty, that they're not hearing, because it's what they feel. And when they're speaking to many other candidates, it's not resonating with the people that are on your side, right? So we're telling them what we need, but they're not listening. And this is why we keep telling our retirees, listen, don't just, our issue from my organization, my standpoint, not all my retirees, but our organization officially. I'm a one-issue group, my organization. But my retirees that live in your district have many more issues. So while I clear you, stamp of approval for respecting our retirees in our retiree issues, they then want to hear from you about the things that concern them on their everyday life, what they have to go through from when they wake up to when they go to bed, whether quality of life issues, whatever they are. And that's basically what's in the control of the city council. So you're speaking their language to them because the other candidates are not listening. And we're like 2 years ago, we had a Democratic candidate that was running for re-election up in the Bronx, literally was telling her retirees, I'm not behind you on this. She flip-flopped on a land deal with them. She told them they should pay for their health care. Doesn't matter what the promise was made. The city doesn't have money. Tough noogies on you. Well, they flipped that district Republican. And they asked me, this was a Democratic stronghold district. And so we said, this is interesting times. So we need to take the position that we're not just going to, if you were a lifelong Democrat, don't just vote blue down. Listen to the person talking to you. Don't just say, I'm not going to vote for him, he's a Republican. But if the Republican candidate is speaking to you and has your back on the issues that are a priority to you, you vote for that candidate. We decided at this point, we keep politics out. I don't care, red, blue, purple, what the heck you are. If you're helping us and speaking our language, then I need to put that label aside. And we've been encouraging our retirees to do the same thing. Stop with the label. Talk to the person. They have a position. If their position resonates with you, that's who goes into office. So we have to keep telling them that. And I'll tell you, we flipped that district, and the woman that runs that district is a sitting councilman, Christy Marmorato, absolutely loves us. Her father is a retired FDNY battalion chief. Her brother is an active firefighter. She was in healthcare. She gets it. So I want to keep stressing to my retirees, it is important that you listen to the candidate, their platform, and you support them based on that, because then those will be your champions. And Richie is one of us. He is a New York City retiree. I did not coach him. There was a question about that before. He knows the issue. We met once. We talked on the telephone. But he understands it because he is us. This affects him. So Richie, I know you got to go, but I am so happy you spent the evening with us. Thank you for taking that time out of your day.
My honor, my pleasure. Do I get one more second, please, Marianne?
Absolutely.
Okay. Two things very quickly. Someone I just saw, they asked, will I be updating my literature, my palm card? Absolutely, positively. It will have the endorsement of this amazing organization of municipal retirees, and it will state very clearly, both on my website, it's coming in a matter of days, and the new literature out there, and the mailers that are coming out, that where I stand on this Medicare Advantage disadvantage issue, because that should really be the name of it. And I want to say this to everyone who is saying what I'm hearing a lot. I'm grateful for it. I like you. I like what you say. I believe in what you're telling me, and you should, because it's coming from my heart. I want you to know the giant letter R that's in front of my name. It's not Richie. It's not just Republican. But for those Democrats who want to show me their support, who want to give me their support, who want a new strong voice in this city council, I'll say this to you. The R in my case stands for responsible. Think of it that way. Give me the opportunity, and my commitment will be to do what is right and to seek guidance where and when I need it. We must protect our municipal workers. We must protect all New Yorkers. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your endorsement. And everyone, please have a fantastic, wonderful, and safe weekend. And give me a few months, those of you 65 and over, and you'll have a great weekend riding on New York City buses for free. Thank you, Marianne, so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Richie. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Jennifer, for your assistance. His website is running below. You'll see that running ticker RB for NYC.com. So you please go down there. You can read all about him, connect with his campaign as well. So Richie, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to close out on my group. You have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. So everyone, that wraps us up for our Friday night lives. I gave a brief little update in the beginning of this video. We're at about an hour and 15 minutes. That first 10 minutes was just me speaking. 10, 15 minutes was me, and I'm just going to close this out here. To all of our retirees that are mothers, happy Mother's Day. For those of you that don't have your moms anymore like me, I will be making sure that I pray for all of your moms as well. For all of you moms, have a happy Mother's Day. I am headed back home, and I will touch base with you guys. But remember, Sunday evening, Mother's Day night, Sunday evening at 7:30, we are doing a Sunday night live with the A Better contract slate. We're going to have a really great evening, get to meet all of them and encourage them to keep coming out. They'll surely try to help clear up some of this confusion with this craziness over this new company that Unity, Michael Mulgrew hired, called GES, Global Election System. It's absolutely crap. So we're so sorry that you are running into these issues. You followed the rules, you did what you're told, and there's still some confusion. But I want to just tell you, stay calm. There's ways that this can be fixed. Make sure that you're reaching out to the A Better contract slate. There's some posts where you can register, like you can do a survey that they created to say, hey, I'm one of those people that didn't get a ballot yet. They want to hear from you so that they're able to prove some of this if this ever has to go to court, or they can make an election complaint about this. It's important that they hear from you. And also reach out to Bennett, who's the retired teacher chapter leader, and tell him, hey, what are you doing about this? What's the news and information? Because no one's sharing with us what's going on. Are you getting a newsletter from your retired teacher chapter talking about these issues? And if not, why not? He needs to be communicating with you. Hold him accountable. Remember, we helped elect him. He's in that position. Make him do his job. So make sure you call him. Make sure you email him. Let him know you didn't get your ballot. If there's confusion about the first ballot, the replacement ballot, which one gets sent in, can you just pick one? Those are all answers that have to come out from your retired teacher chapter leader. I've tried to get those questions answered, and the GES company has not responded back to me. They have not called me back, and I'm not seeing anything coming out of your RTC. So since you guys are retired teachers and you helped elect this guy, we stood behind him, make him answer those questions, because that's his job. Just like you would have to hold me accountable if you didn't feel like I was doing mine. And from the bags under my eyes, I can tell you, I've definitely been doing my job this week. I will update you more as we start to go into next week about all the things that happened this week, and speak to you about all of that. Listen, everyone, you really have a wonderful weekend. Remember, your votes count. Learn about your candidates. Don't just vote red, blue, whatever. Listen to what they have to say, because maybe there's someone there that you wouldn't normally consider to be a candidate for you, but they're professing, like this gentleman just did, that he would be your champion in the city council, but you normally would not have considered him because of his red R, as he said. But he is a retiree. This does affect him. And this is more of what we need, is people who do support us as well. So that's really important for you to keep, to keep in mind. Kathy says, I was able to flip my son, who's a UFD district rep, to ABC. Give your son a hug from me. Mwah! So listen, I'm going to get going, guys. I really do need to rest. You guys enjoy your weekend. All you moms have a great weekend. I will see you Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Here. I will make sure we do post those links on our social media, and I'm sending them out in an email to you probably tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay. So I will see you then. Have a great, great day. Go to his website, learn a little bit more about him, and make sure you schedule yourself to go out and vote. Early voting starts June 14th. And it's really important that you do vote. UFT, make sure if you get your ballots, you get those ballots in the mail and you vote for a better contract. Why? Because change starts with you. Have a great weekend. Love ya.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by.